What's dangerous is when the universe pick you and you put on the magic glasses. There's rules that go with them. You can never take them off. You never see things as they're supposed to be. You see things as they are. And you can never force nobody else to wear them.
Things I think while I lie awake and contemplate tonight are wearing me out. Well, maybe tomorrow the world will wake and get it right, but I have my doubts, yeah. During the day, well, I design machines of war that scream through the sky. 'Cause I, for one, I like to go to bed free at night under these stars and stripes. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. Yes, I have my doubts, but they'll wind you up and pull the cord until you're spun right out. And I don't understand. Roll the dice and raise the price to feed the machine's mouth. Call it the progress of man. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts. And I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. I have my doubts, so I'll drink my stuff and raise some hell and shoot my guns to the end of my time. You can have the booze and go to hell and take the guns, but I know they won't be mine. We're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back up. Yes, I have my doubts. So we're all messed up and out of touch. Let's text someone who's in the other room. So don't wonder why we don't say hi or know anyone. I might as well move to the moon. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. Well, the things I think while I lie awake and contemplate at night are wearing me out.
Howdy, howdy, everybody. Hope everyone is doing well. We got Steve here tonight. Speak, Ubu, speak. Well, we did have him here. He was loud and clear a moment ago. Oh,
That's
I
the
hear
in.
him.
I take it that was the intro, huh? Is that?
Well, yeah,
I was a little.
I'm not like good at it or anything.
I guess I'll have to write something up for you. That was a big splash. He's do each
Uh.
other's intro. And now here's Mike, the Watchman.
To piss everybody off.
Well, I don't know. Hell, well, that's what the sign says up here. Another radio host sent me. It said it reminded me of it. It reminded her of me, and I'll just read
Mhm.
it off. It says, as I have grown older, I've learned that pleasing everyone is impossible, but pissing everyone off is a piece of cake."
Hell yeah, it is. Hang on, I had my e-cig over on the futon. I left evidence over there.
Well, I got my coffee and my smoke,
Sweet, sweet, sweet.
regular smokes. You know,
Mhm. Mhm.
my doctor was impressed that the top came off my cigarette case holder in my shirt as she was listening to my heart and said, "Oh, roll you roll your own." And I said, "Yeah, I have for a long time." So that other
Oh,
stuff, those store bots that kill you.
yeah, they will. Yeah, they will. Um, I think one of the worst things about regular store bought cigarettes is the fire safety stuff that they had started to put on them. Um, a lot of people that I knew, including myself, not real long after they started doing that crap,
Yeah.
um, we all like developed a cough and was hacking, and it just you could tell there was something about it that just was not good.
Oh, I'd never coughed, smoking as much as I do and everything is really never did have a cough and smoked the same cigarettes for 15 years. Went and picked up my $500 worth of. I did it every few months. Got them at an Indian reservation where they had my brand, and I got the gal to, order in 10 cartons,
Hmm.
and went down, picked them up, I came back, and I got into them, and first one I started coughing. I was out on a drilling rig, and I said, I've never, I don't know what the deal is, but I was coughing from these things, and one of those roughnecks said, "Oh, that's that fire safe cigarettes," which I'd
Yeah.
kind of heard about a number of years. I said, "What are you talking about?" He says, "Here, give me one." And he ran his tongue down the side of it, and there's all these little lines. And
Yeah.
he see those? He says they're supposed to extinguish that cigarette within 1 minute. And I quit. That was it. I got through those cartons and I was done. So
Yep. Yep.
roll my own.
I know it was horrible, and that's when I pretty much started to roll my own too. And it wasn't necessarily because of the fire safety; it was because of the cost. Man, I was
Well,
up to
the
three.
cost, yeah,
I
that
was
was
up
an
to three
extra added
packs a
feature.
day.
Yeah. Well, now they're
So
$10 a little small pack. Every once in a while I used to pick up one of the unfiltered Lucky Strikes,
mm-hmm.
and because they were just kind of different. And uh, at $10 a pack now, yeah, you'll never see me buying another package of unfiltered Lucky Strikes again. So
Yeah, I know. It's kind of crazy, isn't it?
they destroyed the industry, Mike, and you kind of got
Well,
into
that was
this.
the intent.
Well, yeah, but they haven't outlawed them, have they?
Well, no, no, they're not going to do that because they're making money off the taxes.
Yeah,
You know
and that
about the
deal.
master. You know about the master settlement agreement. I'm sure you do.
Yeah, yeah. What was that? Now I was gonna.
The
Yeah,
master settlement agreement.
MSA. Did you call it MSA before or something or
MS,
not? Or called it?
possibly. I may
Well,
have because I've talked about it a lot
Oh yeah,
And
I studied
being
it.
that I was from the
Shoot,
vaping industry, it was on the tip of our
they
tongues.
built museums.
Yep.
They knew of one state that they took the money and invested it in.
You just cut off for
See
some
this
reason.
thing.
Oh, there you are. You're back now. You're back now. Ah,
Yes,
yeah, I hear you.
this is this thing loads up, Mike. There's something that loads the RAM memory up.
Yep.
It's better with the new cards in, but
Oh, you got those
uh,
in?
there is I don't understand what there's something in here that it just builds up to where it just starts.
It's your
I have to
cache.
keep kicking the RAM memory off,
Here,
emptying it.
let me help you out there.
But I do appreciate the headphones.
Oh, no problem. I hang on, I'll get the other view back for those on the
Okay,
home
you got some
game.
things to do here now.
Yeah, can you hear me now? Like in time? Apparently not. Okay, I'm gonna start counting. Tell me when you hear me. One. Oh, well, now he really can't hear me. Okay. I know what happens. His cache gets built up on his computer because he's using Firefox. But yeah. Anyway, don't use Firefox. Um, so as you see, we'll go ahead and get started here. As you see, and from the show's title tonight, LNG is now worse for the climate than coal, says a study. And I was joking with Steve right before the show started about because like back in the day, there's been on and offs about several things, and one of them is sun, right? One moment it's good to go and get sun, the other moment it's not, and then one moment milk is good for you, the next moment it's bad for you, and eggs and meat and anything you can think of. One moment is good for you, the next moment is bad for you, and it really doesn't matter to them which is which, except for whatever they need to do with their agenda. And that is clearly the case with this article coming out of RT here. Again, LNG worse for climate than coal, says a study. Now, mind you, I don't want people thinking of images of workers coming up out of coal mines from the 1940s, um, because that's a very stark difference from today. Not only it is for the workers, but it's also a stark difference for the burning of the coal. They have gotten coal down to be, I mean, we're talking clean. They really did incredible work with the coal industry and cleaning up the pollutants. And it got to be a non issue. And I, I think because, and again, it depends which way the wind is blowing. And what had happened was they were all good with oil and coal, and they would let things roll on forever with oil and coal. But then they hit another gold mine. They hit the best gold mine of gold mines, and that was shale. And they started fracking the shale and producing copious amounts of natural gas. I mean, we got enough. We don't even have any idea of how long it would take to burn all of the natural gas that we have access to. I mean, it was like we should really be having some seriously cheap energy prices right now. We really should. But they are not going to let that happen. And so now that the gig is up on gas, right? Because you're going to eventually have enough people asking questions as to, hey, why is my bill still substantially higher, you know, when we're getting all this gas with a lot less effort? You know what I mean? It's just, it's insane. So now I think what it is they realize that they didn't quite have, I mean, I think for several reasons, they didn't have quite the control that they wanted over the energy industry. And now by them going and implementing these sweeping measures, like trying to eliminate natural gas, and of course, you know, they're trying to get rid of the combustion engine. And what they want is that they want that complete dominance, that complete control over energy. Because just as much as they can control you with food, they can control you with energy. And if they can control you with food, energy, and housing, you don't stand a chance. And that is what they are doing, along with making sure, for whichever the way the wind needs to blow today, that wind's blowing that direction. Now, tomorrow, the wind might blow back towards liquefied natural gas. You don't know. It all depends on who's making what kind of insider deals. And that is the long and short of it. There is nothing that frustrates me more than discussing things like that Keystone Pipeline with people that really don't understand what was going on there. The Keystone Pipeline, the addition that they wanted to add, was not going to benefit the American people at all. Not even close. It was a pipeline to allow Canada to pipe oil directly that they got out of the tar pits directly down into the Gulf of Mexico, so it could then get on ships and be taken to like EU and UK. That's what that was for. We were not going to benefit from that in any way, shape, or form. None. We weren't going to see lower energy costs. We weren't going to see any benefits from that, but you got to pay for it. You damn well got to pay for it. You have to stop playing their games. You have to understand that none of these people in our government believes in capitalism. That's a fallacy. It's as fake as our independence. They are not going to allow us to have a chance. They aren't going to allow anybody outside of their little box can get anywhere. And be very watchful of the ones that appear to get somewhere. And I'm talking about people like Trump, people like Elon Musk. Be very watchful, because I really don't think either one of those individuals are actually batting for us. I think they were thrown in there as a curveball to give the other side somebody to be able to rely on. You know, like the red flag laws and bump stock bans and Operation Warp Speed. It's crazy when you really look at it. So anyway, we got that mess. Let me make sure that is the screen up top before I go whacking stuff. All right, I need a sip of coffee. Oh, I better put that e-cig up there. I've been working with cameras for much of the day. I had a couple of, before we got the dedicated NVR system that we use for our general everyday security, before we got that, I had purchased a couple of IP cams or what have you. They were kind of cheap. They were on Amazon. And I remembered reading in the instructions that they could be hooked up, connected to an NVR system. But I'd never tried. And so with dealing with this other camera from Leosov and working with it and checking out its different features and stuff like that, it led me to pull these out of the box. And because I actually had them in one of our prepper boxes, because they can be all set up with the phone and all that stuff. So it's a real handy system you could just put out real quick. And so that's why they were in the prepping boxes. And so I pulled them out and went through the instructions again, and it took me quite a while. In fact, before I actually got it, I mean, my search led me to some guy that had a website, that had a blog on a website, and he was hacking around on these cams and managed to be able to get a little info. And so I had dig and dig to be able to find contact information for this gentleman. I finally found it, contacted him, and then when he wrote me back, it went to spam, and I had no idea for like a good part of the day that he even wrote me back. And so I just happened to check my spam folder. I typically do every day and make sure it's cleared out, because sometimes important stuff goes to spam, so I always keep an eye on it. So anyway, I wrote him back, thanked him. He had mentioned, I don't even know how or why I didn't think of this like right off the bat, but I was trying, because when you looked in the instructions, it tells you that if you go on to a certain page, it will tell you your NVR password, but the app wasn't showing it. And I'm like, oh, great. And so this guy had a way that he was doing it, I think, through the ADB terminal, that he was getting the information. Well, it's been a long time since I've messed with that stuff. And so I got ADB all installed, good to go, all that. I got connected to ADB, got connected into the, terminal, all that good stuff. But I didn't know exactly how to use the commands to get the information that I needed. So when I did catch his email, I don't know, again, I don't know why I didn't think of this. He was like, maybe try installing an older version of the app. And I'm like, duh. So, and that wasn't an easy thing to find. So I dug and dug, and I happened to find a website that did have a few different versions. The oldest one they had wouldn't work, and it was the second to oldest one they had. I installed it, got everything configured, and bam, NVR password was right there. I'm like, sweet. So that's 2 more cameras that I get to add to our system. So that's cool, because we got 2 of those. And that is awesome. So get that thing filled up. Yes, sir. Get her filled up. So anyway, yeah, that's an interesting, fun rabbit hole to go down into. But I did it. I was successful. All right, coffee time. All right. Kick out Netanyahu and others before it's too late. U.S. intervention in Israel not to open Madhouse door. Fears of all-out war plan. This is coming from War News 24/7. And basically, what it seems like to me is going on is they have no control over Netanyahu. There are a lot of different individuals, whether it be leaders of other nations or members of the government of other nations, or whether it be individuals within the Israeli government itself, that are really kind of starting to look at this and going, now hold up, man. not only is the body count piling a bit high, but also his notion that they're going to be the end all be all. I don't think that there's anybody outside of the Israeli government that thinks that's even remotely feasible. And the only thing I can say to anybody that thinks it is you really want more of what's been going on, apparently. People need to understand. And again, I am not backing either one. Neither one is righteous. But that's the whole point I'm making. Neither one is righteous. You just can't go and take people's land that's lived there for generations off some bullshit decision that a bunch of rich white men made in 1948. That's nonsense. That is nonsense. And there are many ways to skin that cat, and that you could have totally avoided what happened on October 7th. But the truth of the matter is, Netanyahu wants it all. And he's not going to settle for anything else. He's a psychopath. The dude is a madman. He wants it all. No ifs, ands, or buts. And I don't think that there's enough support on this planet for him to see that. I don't think it's going to happen. I do think that our government is concerned, because I don't think that they want to put a foot in front of Israel. But they may have to. Because I think that much of the world is looking to the United States to put a stop to it. Why? Because the United States is de facto number one, the ones that supported it up till now. Is what it is. And like I say, I'm not picking sides. I side with the righteous one. And since neither one is righteous, I guess that means I can't side with either one. I don't pick the better of two evils. I don't play that game. I don't know why anybody would play that game. But people are brainwashed into it. And I think that things like sports has a lot to do with that. But whatever. I'll pass on that stuff. So anyway, that's basically what they're saying. Where, and the Israeli foreign minister, Eli Cohen, stated in a press briefing that Israel has international legitimacy. Pay attention to the wording here. International legitimacy for another 2 to 3 weeks of fighting in Gaza. International legitimacy. Now, they have been recently talking about this whole proportional number thing and talking about what are acceptable numbers of casualties for Israel in proportion to what happened on October 7th. And all the while people are thinking of this, I'm like, are people even really passing it through their minds what it is that they're discussing? Could they possibly be? I don't like what happened on October 7th. But I also don't like what happened in 1948. And if that wouldn't have happened in 1948, we wouldn't have seen what we had on October 7th. Plain and simple. Had Israel made any serious effort to a two-state solution without all their bullshit prison crap that they had going on, because if you don't think that that was a prison, I don't know what to tell you. But Israel controlled absolutely everything in and out. They controlled everything about that place. They had surveillance everywhere. People couldn't fart without Netanyahu knowing. That is not right. And anybody that thinks that that is right or that is okay, then you need to go live like that. Because if it's good for the goose, it's damn well good for the gander. I think people need to sober up. I think there's a whole lot of stuff that has gotten so normalized in people's minds, even though they're not really experiencing it. Like things like violence, like things like war. It's so normalized to people because it's all over the media, all the time. But for most people, it's not a reality. For most people, it's never even been close to a reality. So what do you think is going to happen when it is? That's my question. What is going to happen to the psyche of this nation when the shit does start hitting that fan? That's why I speak so much against the whole Hollywood prepping thing. Trust me. Read some history. Steve could really help me out here because I don't know history like he does. I mean, the man knows history really well. And I can't give you all kinds of examples and all that stuff like he can. But, man, we sure learned these lessons a long time ago, and we shouldn't be so anxious to repeat them. A U.S. stance on Gaza paralyzing the UN Security Council, says Russia. And this is an article that kind of goes again to what I was saying. It says U.S. is using its veto power in the UN Security Council to sabotage international efforts to end the bloodshed in the Middle East, despite dire warnings from the global organization's own staff about the staggering civilian death toll in the Gaza Strip, the Russian Foreign Ministry said on Monday. One moment. Okay. All UN representatives have been jointly calling for an immediate humanitarian ceasefire, which would end this inhumane collective punishment, the suffering of the children, women, and the elderly, the Foreign Ministry said in a statement on its website. However, the Security Council can't execute its direct mandate and remains paralyzed thanks to the position of a single country, the U.S. The ministry added that Israel fully bears the duty of observing international law on Palestinian territories, including Gaza. The U.S. and its allies vetoed 2 Russian and 1 Brazilian-sponsored resolutions calling for a ceasefire between Israel and Palestinian militants. Russia and China, meanwhile, voted against an alternative resolution introduced by Washington. So, yeah, because here's the thing. The 2 countries that would like to have as much control as possible are the United States and Israel. And why? Because they don't want a damn thing to change. That's why. And if either the United States or Israel gets put in charge, then they don't have to worry about anything. It's business as usual. So, you know, I used to call it white people solutions or white people committees because I noticed after all these, shootings of say, uh, young unarmed black men or what have you, people like that maybe even wasn't unarmed, like Philando Castile, if I'm probably saying his name a little wrong, but that man was fully legal to carry his firearm. I mean, everything was legal about that man, and he was just shot dead and not even given a chance. And I've noticed every time these events happen, you've got the town, they get together, they form a committee, and they're going to talk about how they're going to do this, and they're going to do that, and you know what? It's a bunch of horseshit. Nothing ever happens. Look at Ferguson. Perfect example. Ferguson, Missouri. We don't live super far from there. Perfect example. A white people committee. That's exactly what that. And don't get me wrong, I say white people committee. It's not all white people on the committee, right? But the people of color that are on the committee are much like many of the Republicans in Congress right now, if you know what I'm saying. And you can't get anywhere like that. And again, I don't think that's the intent. I think from go, it's intended not to get anywhere. But if we want to fix problems, we got to stop letting them supply the solutions, because they're not trying to fix things. They're not trying to fix things. U.S. running low on air defense systems, says Wall Street Journal. So yeah, because we're like shipping them all the hell over there, and now Israel's shipping their missile defense systems to, what was it, Finland, I think. So let me repeat that. We are running low on air defense systems because we sent a shit ton of them to Ukraine and Israel. Israel, okay, let me say this real quick again, just to make sure it sinks in. We're running low on air defense systems because we gave a shit ton. Let me say that again. We gave a shit ton, gave being the key word there, to Ukraine and Israel. And Israel, hell, just sold a shit ton of their systems to another nation. If they've got their own systems, why the hell are we paying for their crap? And why are we sending them a damn thing except for a bill? Parking lot. It's all parking lot. Parking lot. Okay, that's all of those. You might wonder, what kind of weird hacking are you trying to do, Mike? Can you hear me, Steve? If Steve can hear me in real time, I'll show you what it is. Can you hear me, brother? I'm not hearing nothing on your end. But if you hear something on my end and it's not real laggy, put your hand up. He left. He didn't put up his hand, he put up his middle finger. Anyway, all right, he's back. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, stick your hand up. I'm not hearing you. But if you hear me, stick your hand up. Ah, you do hear me.
Yep. Can you hear me?
Sweet. Now I hear you.
I'm here.
Okay, real quick, I'm going to run through this for you because I'm
Go.
not going to bore the hell out of everybody else. So, okay, you know what lights are, right? Like lights, you know, like on an airplane, you got the blinky blinkies and the landing lights and all of that. Can you hear me? Uh-oh. Anyway, Steve, I'll just run through this. Oh, he left. I'm just gonna, what I was showing, I was telling him about this, Thursday night. And I didn't have anything really handy I could just grab and show him real quick. But if anybody wonders, aha, you're back. Can you hear me? I heard. I could hear you breathing. Can you hear
Can you
me?
hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're hearing me fine now, right?
I
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I don't know what keeps giving them problems. Like I said, one of the issues is the browser, but telling you folks, doesn't matter what browser you use. Doesn't matter. They've got the same information, many one of them. I learned today. It's been a long time since I've done a lot of phone hacking type of stuff. And I say hacking, not really. Not really hacking. It's cracking more than anything. Freaking, if you will. Tweaking. I used to be a big phone geek, and I would like just tear into the operating systems, and I was a big phone geek. And man, I'll tell you what, I was trying just to get a configuration file out of my phone today from an app, and holy hell, have they made it a nightmare just to simply see your system files. Can you hear me now, Steve? I hear you. Are you hearing me? Uh-oh. I'm thinking he can't hear me. I heard a squeak. I have no idea. I don't think you can hear me. All right, let me motorbait down there. Well, I'll show you guys, and maybe he'll watch the recording. I'll just real quick show you, like all the lights on the aircraft, like literally the lights, the visible lights. That's like all of them there. Your electrical system, all the circuits of your electrical system, all of that is defined in these aircraft that we fly in the simulator. And then you see your autopilot, and you got things like max pitch velocity and all that stuff, all your autopilot configuration stuff. And then this is the engine file. This is the engine config file, and you got different engine types and all that. This is a turbine engine, well, more than one. There's two of them. Turbine engine, right? And then it has all your tables for your Mach tables, and your N1 to Mach on thrust table. I mean, it really gets super. You got your EPR max and your oil temp and I mean, you literally can go in and fine tune every single one of these things. It is incredible, absolutely incredible. Like as you see on this aircraft, I have the jet engine, the thrust scalar, I have at 1.3 there because I like my planes fast. And if I continue on here, this is going to be the flight something.config. And, it's going to have your max gross weight of the airplane, your empty weights, and all your contact points. That's like if you hit something and you crash. Okay, that was a contact point that hit something and crashed. But fuel, you can set what kind of how much fuel it'll hold, and here's your fuel system. Literally, like all of your fuel lines, your valves, your cutoffs, everything, pumps, fuel pumps, everything, all of it right there. It's freaking incredible. Like, see, it's got 4 pumps there, 4 different pumps in this aircraft. And then here's your airplane geometry, like your wing area, that's your surface area. And even for those that know, and you probably have to be pretty much an aviation engineer, but your Oswald efficiency factor. How well does the aircraft cut through the air, right? You're never going to have 100% because there's never going to be an aircraft that does not have any type of air, resistance going through the air. So you'll never see an actual 100% Oswald efficiency factor. It's just like a perpetual motion engine. You're not going to ever have one. But um, anyway, all kinds of stuff. Elevator, ailerons. You can fine tune all that stuff. Here's your other aerodynamics, lift coefficiencies, side force, pitch moments, roll moments, yaw moments. I mean, and then you got tables for all of that you can fine tune. Right? It makes your head spin, doesn't it? These are the files that I play in. This is what I do. And then here's like your flight tuning to where you can kind of fine tune, get in and kind of fine tune stuff. Here's your reference speeds. And then here's your flaps. This particular aircraft has 8 different flap positions because it's an oddball kind of thing. I didn't do that. That's the way he did it. And I only got one more for you. Target performance. And what happens when you see the 2 forward slashes inside of it? That means it's commented out. That means it won't work. It's commented out, so it won't actually work. So all these that you see the forward slashes in front of won't be read by the system because I only actually needed a couple, a few. Like I wanted to adjust the stall when and where it stalled at, the cruise speeds and all that good stuff. I adjusted the no flap max vertical dive speed, all that good stuff. Anything you don't see that. Max horsepower, which that really doesn't have an effect because believe me, it's not putting out almost 1,300 horsepower. Empty weight, I did lighten it up several hundred pounds. It just is what it is. But that's my geek stuff. That's what I enjoy doing. So you've seen that I paint the aircraft, I give them paint jobs and all that stuff. Well, I also modify them as far as the performance because I like crazy aircraft. And this aircraft that you just saw the files for, we showed it the other night on the show. It's the C-22J. It's a real tiny twin engine jet. And it's just a ball to fly. And so I've got it all cracked out, tweaked up in the sim, but not way super unrealistically. You could technically put strong enough engines, jet engines, in that aircraft to do what it is that I am doing with it. So that was an aircraft that almost got picked by, I think, the Italian military under their Very Efficient Smart Power Aircraft program, their Vespa program, Very Efficient Smart Power Aircraft program that they had going on. So Vespa. Anyway, I know you guys wanted to hear all about that stuff. But Steve can go back and watch the replay and see what it is that I was telling him about on adjusting all those.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Are you in real time with me now?
Yeah, I've been listening to you. I knew
So you did catch
Yep,
what I was throwing out. Yeah.
Yeah, it looked like programming code running down there is what you're doing.
Well, not
Adjusting
really.
things.
It's literally just it's not even programming code. It's literally just entries. And a
Well,
lot of this you can be accurate on, like your engine, when you do your temperatures and all that stuff, you do that stuff accurately, just like the real thing. So it's not really
yeah, but
coding so much, but like
well,
what?
put one up there. What, you got an engine horsepower or something? You got engine horsepower or
That's what this is. Turbine engine data, fuel flow gain, inlet area rated into RPM, static thrust. Does it have a reverser available? Afterburner, thrust specific fuel consumption. afterburner thrust, specific fuel consumption. So yeah, you literally have all that stuff. EPR tuning, oil temperature cooling constant, literally all that stuff. Fuel pressure, oil pressure, ignition systems. I mean, literally
Well,
everything that's in a
I
real
see
plane.
these one.
Huh?
I see these ones and zeros. The ones and zeros. Ones what on? You got those on. You go through and
Sometimes.
some
Sometimes
of
it's a
these.
number,
Yeah, yeah.
but
Like
it
20. I'm
varies.
seeing 25 starter cutoff
Right.
minutes.
Yep.
20. What is
Yep.
that? 25 minutes.
I have no idea if that's
Okay.
minutes or seconds. That's probably seconds.
Well, yeah, but the coding, the way they've got their file written,
Um,
you
yeah,
know.
I mean it's a little bit. I mean it's not like but it's easy to identify your different things. So yeah, it's really cool. I think it's awesome. Um, and I break a lot because I
Yeah, I
don't.
watched you fly.
Well,
you,
I'm talking about when
you
I'm tuning
land
them.
on land on br- well, you land on bridges and crash. Gee, okay, you know,
uh, I have a ball.
I guess it's a lot more fun when when it's not real.
Yeah, when it's not like costing you your home every time.
Well, or yeah, a few other things.
You got big old NTSB investigation and
There you go. Yeah, well,
yeah,
yeah, well,
yeah.
they're not going to threaten me with taking my license because I don't have one.
Hey, I can't tell you how many times I've flown through the arch and not went to jail once.
There you go. You ain't in St. Louis?
Yeah. At any time I'm flying around St. Louis, I have to. It doesn't matter whether I'm in
Oh,
a.
well, yeah. Shoot, now I know where you live. No, that's right. I told you. It's just fascinating me. Hey, yeah, and I've been to the top of all that, but you're not very far from that.
30 minutes.
Well, and the thing that got me here was that, and you know the name of those Indians that built. It's the world's largest uh in square footage or whatever pyramid in the world. The
Oh,
dirt
Cahokia
pyramid.
Mounds. Cahokia Mounds.
Yeah,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
been on the top of that thing and all that, and then you look across. Here, this civilization was, and then you look, and they had their monument, their thing they built, and you look right across, and there's that arch sitting there, same, hundreds of years later. So
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of
Yep.
pick out a good spot to settle.
Yep. Yeah. Oh,
I
well, I
liked
get.
being there.
Oh, I
Go
hear you.
ahead.
I
All right.
hear you. Well, I reckon I could run through these and call it a night. I'm
Okay,
ready for bed. I have had
let's
my
do it.
head in these camera systems all day. I'm so tired of looking at numbers. But I finally got it figured out. Finally got it figured out. Okay.
You do. Okay.
Yep. Yep. Israel Hamas conflict, dense demand for global air travel, says data. BRICS country imports record amount of Russian oil. Scholes said he's ready to talk with Putin. Ukraine can be new Korea, says ex-NATO commander. Nazi influence
Shit.
strong in Canada, says Moscow. Yeah, I thought it was funny too, Steve. Most Americans
Okay.
most Americans feel poorer under Biden, says a poll. I don't know. I feel pretty much about the same. No, we're more poor under Biden. There's no doubt of that. I mean, we're pretty screwed, to tell you the truth, right now. We are just barely squeaking by. And yikes. Oil could hit $120 next year, says Fitch Ratings. I think it can still get by doing it this year. We'll see. Jewish school in Canada hit by gunfire twice in 1 week. Z credited with San Francisco cleanup. I don't know how the hell that worked, but U.S. running low on, covered that. Ex-UK PM makes sensational return as foreign minister. Paris anti-Semitism march draws over 100,000. Now, the thing that strikes me about that, and I didn't read the article, just being honest, I didn't read the article. Was it an anti-Semitism march? Or was it just a pro-Palestine? Because they're not the same thing. They are not the same thing. And it could have been. Again, it was launched by President of the National Assembly. Yeah, so, and this could have been an anti-Semitism thing. Could have, no doubt it could have been. I mean, look at all the individuals that came out of the woodwork with, in the last couple of years or so, with the Nazi groups or whatever. You never heard of those cats before until the Biden administration, and all of a sudden we've got this big, huge, anti-racial, or whatever. I'm trying to think, like a KKK discrimination group. I don't. I think that was, to be real honest, I think it was the FBI. I'm not even joking a little bit. Cat. Oh. Oh. Oh.
Well, they haven't got much to do, Mike.
The cat's outside. I keep talking about bringing the cat in. The cat can share tuna fish sandwiches with me.
There.
Oh, God. I am going to get attacked. I'm
There
just
you
waiting
go.
for it. I'm just waiting for it. I don't feel a nose yet, but I think it's probably coming. Hamas planned broader attack, says Washington Post. Europe's biggest volcano erupts. Russian gas giant announces radical new Asia strategy. Russian MPs propose clampdown on Airbnb-style rentals. France to force Ukraine to buy its weapons, says minister. Germany promises massive increase in Ukraine aid. By the way, backing up a little bit, the deal with France, what that is they're wanting to make Zelensky like his own account, where he's got an account. And instead of the French military giving them their stuff, he will be getting it directly from the arms manufacturers. And again, instead of coming from the military stocks, he's going to have his own little special, teenager card that he can use in order to buy his weapons with. Right? Something like that. Yeah, something like that. But, I'm sure he's going to have limits so he can't overspend just like any other kid. So, Germany promises massive increase in Ukraine aid. EU official apologizes for Borrell's remarks, says Politico. A sister of former U.S. president dies. That would be Donald Trump's sister. LNG worse for climate. Oh, covered that. Pro-Trump shaman to run for U.S. Congress. Now, you remember this cat, right? The shaman. Now, I don't know if you remember, but that dude sold out in quick, in short order. I mean, that dude was singing like a bird before they even had him cuffed. And do you remember that dude? He was like all crying and stuff, and poor me, you got to get me out, I'm gonna die in here, kind of. And this cat now is running for Congress, and I just wanted to make sure that you remembered the crybaby shaman before you go run and vote for this cat, because yeah, not a good choice. Israel wants Tony Blair as humanitarian coordinator in Gaza, says media. Ukraine cynically not interested in minority rights, says Hungary. Pro-Palestine protest anti-Semitic, says Israeli ambassador. I would not say all of them are. Obviously, some of them are. But some of them are because they're tired of you killing innocent people, including women and children. That would be what they're upset about. Putin hadn't decided on 2024 election run, says Kremlin. Officers protecting Biden's granddaughter shoot at car thieves. Yeah, apparently a couple of car thieves tried to take off with a Secret Service vehicle. I guess they couldn't see the government plates on it and think maybe we shouldn't screw with this one. Not very bright individuals. Serbian World War I monument replaced with NATO one. Let's see. Republican objections complicating Ukraine aid, says White House. And that looks to be. Let me see if there's any numerous. I see a 1 up there. There's a number 1 up there. I gotta go number 1. All right. EU has given Ukrainian military 27 billion pounds. Right? No, that's euros, ain't it? Yeah, that's euros. Pounds is the L. Anywho, now that we've got that little class out of the way, 27 billion Urinos. That's a lot. That is a lot. I wonder if they say Urinos, or if that ship sailed like in the 70s. Anyway.
Euros.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the hip way of saying it, Euronies. I don't know. Well, that is the hip way. Oh, I am just so culturally astute, ain't I?
Well, do you have a problem with that? Or do we need some reculturing?
Yeah, like I'm thinking 70s Shaft type of reculturing. That would be cool, wouldn't it? The bell bottoms and the strutting with the snap in the finger, right? I mean, come on, you didn't get any more badass than that. The big old sideburns. the cow pusher mustache.
There you go. Yeah.
Did you ever take part in any of that, Steve?
I was always kind of on the opposite side.
Were you?
Yeah, when the hippie, and I didn't have, and then everybody's got the short hair and everything, and so I let mine grow down my back.
Yeah.
Finally dug up my old good hairstylist and tracked her down. She was still there, and went in and got it trimmed. Now I said, now it looks like John Wick.
I'm like sitting here vaping, my hands like breakdancing and stuff. I don't know. Oh man. All right. Well, I am gonna get out of here because I have got a date with the pillow, and I'm anxious to get there. So I'm tired. That was a lot of mental juice I expelled today. I'm binging and booping. I better turn that or plug that in for a moment before bed. My watch. It's really hard to do stuff with a VR headset on when you can't see what it is that you're. But that's okay. Because I have real good feel of my fingers. You work on enough
You're
cars.
in your own.
Huh?
Yeah, you're in your own little world, Mike.
Yeah. Well, I am, but I'm so used to working on cars, reaching up in there to put the bolt in that you can't see. So I'm like,
If you hadn't noticed, I ordered the rings today. Finally got it all apart. God, I hurt, but working on a high performance lawnmower. So
fun times.
Hey, speaking of which, while I've got you here and you're talking about cars, so I can remember it. What was the model of that Camaro you had? You were talking about the other night.
96 Z28 SS.
Oh, it's a Z28.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
it was a Z28 SS. It was an anniversary edition.
right.
Um, it was nothing. The
Yeah,
only
because
thing that was Camaro was
Z.
the body. Like
Okay.
everything was Corvette. The entire
Because
drivetrain, the brakes, everything was Corvette. The rear end, transmission, engine had an LT1. I can't remember the damn
well, you're
transmission
talking
it
about.
had in there. That 4060E or whatever that piece of crap is that always blows out second gear. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, not
I'm
much
not a
on.
GM person if you
Yeah,
can't
I'm
tell.
I'm used to either Muncie 220 low close ratios
Hmm.
or the uh God. Oh gee, why do I even try to think
Well,
anymore?
this is
But
all
what I
yours.
was going to talk to you about, also,
Hmm?
uh, your no, you talk about your wheel hop. You needed traction bars on it.
No, no. That was the amazing thing about it. Whatever traction system it had, and I know it had, like I said, everything was Corvette. I know it had the Corvette SLP rear end in it. And it was the oddest
Yeah,
car
but
I'd ever driven. Yeah, because it was the only
you
car that
talked
I
about
ever have
a
driven that
wheel.
would, yeah, it wouldn't hardly burn you would have to brake torque it to burn the tires off. That thing was
Yeah.
designed so perfect to launch. Instead of the wheel spinning, man, that rear end, and you wouldn't feel the hop. What all you would hear is a banging, and it would just bam, 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 like 3, 4 times, and that car would just launch. That was the most unreal launching car I had ever seen in my life. And I think part of it had to do with the electronic shifting system that it had.
Oh, so the real wheels weren't hopping.
No, no. Now the rear
Okay.
end would
Well,
jump up and down, but it wasn't like the wheel hop, like I know what you're talking about. No, it
okay.
wasn't. It
Yeah.
wasn't doing that. No,
Yeah.
no.
Because
These were plenty holding the ground. I mean, it was. I'm sure the slamming would have been the stoppers or whatever, or I don't know what you call those. I'm not a suspension guy.
well, with the traction bars, you hook your axle and stuff to the frames.
Right,
My old
right.
65 GT 350, it had we put traction bars on it, and then my 67 Corvette, even with the independent rear suspension, which has got two half shafts on the back,
Hmm.
I built a center section that was a one main traction bar that went under the rear end and then goes up to the frame, so it doesn't. It'll try to turn the differential forward,
Hmm.
and it puts pressure on the geez,
Ring gear,
the
yeah,
little
ring gear, ain't it?
the universal joints. I'm sorry,
Oh,
but
you're
see,
talking the
I'd
U
break
joint.
those
Okay.
off.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah, I broke two of them off on a half shaft. The last time I wrapped it up in the strut bar and locked the left rear wheel, which is a good thing I wasn't really going, or it could have been real interesting
I had a
doing that.
buddy
So that's when
in
I.
high school that had a Dodge Magnum SE. I think it was a 78 or 78, 79 Dodge Magnum SE. Beautiful car. And
Yeah.
I didn't like their ignition system. That was the ignition system where they had the bright idea to where they were going to start cutting out cylinders, as you know what I mean? Yeah,
Oh
so
yeah.
that part
It was a
sucked.
rev limiter.
Yeah, and he didn't do it. It was that way when he bought the car. It was jacked
Right.
up
Yeah.
so high in the rear end that he was actually breaking off the what do you call it? On the torque converter, the stem. He was actually cracking the stems off of torque converters. And So finally, I think he lowered it a couple of inches and finally stopped putting new torque converters in. But I don't know how many damn torque converters. In fact, he had to do it so often for the hell of it one night just because we were total assholes. He worked at Pizza Hut and we went and we like jacked up the back of the car just high enough for the wheels to clear the ground. And so he got off of work and all that. He getting ready to go home, fires up the car, put it in gear, hits the gas, and his car doesn't move. Oh, it was classic. It was classic. But yeah, yeah. He thought he'd done broke another. We were always
Did
doing
he?
stuff. No, he didn't. No, we
Oh,
jacked up the back of his car.
oh,
It didn't take long for him to figure it out because he heard us laughing behind the McDonald's dumpster bin.
I, I say,
Because we
okay.
were dying. We were dying. But anyway, uh, yeah. But anyway, I'm gonna get out of here so I can get some rest. And
Okie
God
dokie.
willing, I'll be back at it again tomorrow. So, alrighty, folks, I am out of here. I hope you all have a blessed evening. God willing, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll do it all over again. And as always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.